morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on the time of day or night at your location as you watch this video. I greet you all in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I have another exciting spiritual insight word to share with you today. And today we will be talking about your blessings, spiritual blessings. When it is God-given, there is a grace attached to it. When it is God-given, there is a grace attached to it. That's what we'll be talking about today, your spiritual blessings. When it is God-given, there is a grace attached to it. So how do you know those spiritual blessings that are given to you by God versus those that are not? Okay, so that you're not confusing the two. Now, before I get into the details of today's spiritual insight word, I just want to welcome those of you that are here on my channel watching this video for the very first time. You're seeing me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. We're happy to have you and excited to have you on board. For my return viewers, thank you so much for your continued support. I really appreciate it. Now, let's just get to today's topic. Okay, so when it is God-given, there is a grace attached to it. That's the topic. Now, why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because this channel mostly talks about your destiny exchange, or a stolen destinies, and we are working towards the restoration of your God-ordained destiny. Okay, now your God-ordained destiny is that package of spiritual blessings that God has blessed you with, has attached to your spirit when He created you before the foundations of this earth. That is in accordance with Psalms 139 verse 16. Those blessings are written in the book of destiny about you. How do you recognize those blessings as the ones that are written in the book of destiny about you? They're given to you by God versus those ones that are man-made. Okay, that is what we're talking about here today. How do you recognize those God-ordained blessings versus the ones that are man-made blessings? Okay, so we'll start with the God-given blessings. I'll just go over 8 things to take note of that will tell you that this blessing is from God. Or if you're watching somebody, or if you're wondering about someone's blessings, how you would know that that blessing is actually given to that person by God. There are 8 things to keep in mind. I'm going to go over them one by one. So the first one, God did the work of putting it together. When it is a God-ordained blessing, a lot of the work was not done by that person. If it is you, a lot of the work, you know it, that you did not put in that work to get that blessing. It is God that put it together. It is God that made it happen, because the people involved did not put in that much work. It was given to them by God. That's the biggest sign. So I'm going over 8 signs. So the biggest sign is that it is not by human effort. You cannot point to one person and say, this person put in a lot of sweat, a lot of, hard work, a lot of effort to make it happen. No, it is God that did the work. And so, you know that God is the one that brought it to pass. God is the one that put in a lot of the work to make it happen. Okay, so that's the biggest sign. The second one is that there is a grace attached to it. As it says, there is a grace attached to it. So what do we mean by grace? Grace just means that it is low maintenance for that person. If it is you, it is low maintenance for it. You don't feel like you're doing a lot of work. You're actually enjoying that process. If it is a job, you just don't feel like this is a lot of work. You're like pushing yourself to do it, to finish it. If it's the project, you don't feel like you're putting in effort. You're putting in a lot of time, but it is enjoyable to you. You don't even see how time is going. If it is a marriage, you're actually enjoying that marriage. You're not feeling like, oh my God, this is so irritating. Why did he do that? Why does he eat like that? Why does he put his feet up like that? And every little thing that person does is so irritating to you. You can't just stand it. When you see that sign, then you have to ask yourself, is this God ordained? Is this God who put these two people together? That's why I'm saying these are the signs, right? So there's a grace attached to it. Here in the example of marriage, it would be something that would normally irritate a lot of people. For this person who is in that marriage, they are actually not finding it to be a problem at all. For instance, maybe it's something, people's behaviors, people's mannerisms. Maybe this person, one of the partners, maybe the way they eat, they like to pick at their food and, I don't know, pick out the tomatoes, pick out whatever, onions or whatever, put them aside. I like to do that when I eat, and sometimes it's irritating. So it's some of those quirks or some things like that. And someone else may find that very, very irritating and actually unbearable after some time. But those are the signs. The one who is God ordained to be with this partner, they won't even notice it. They won't even notice that this person is doing this. Or if they have a grace attached to it. So they're just full of grace about the whole situation. That's what I mean. There's no irritation, frustration, like nothing. Other people will be pointing out, this person does this. Doesn't that irritate you? It would really bother me. But for the person involved, they didn't even notice it. There's just a lot of grace. That's what we mean, okay? So it's low maintenance for the people involved, because there's a lot of grace. When there's a lot of grace, the maintenance level is low. Okay, that's another big sign. When you notice someone is always irritated about something, then maybe God never gave it to them. That's a big sign. Then the third one is there is peace in the hearts of the people involved. There is a lot of peace. They're not worried about losing this blessing. They are just at peace. Whatever happens, they're at peace. They are very secure. When there's a lot of peace in the hearts of people, what comes with that is that they're very secure. They're not secure that, oh, if it's a marriage, this person is going to cheat on me. This person is going to go out of the marriage and do something. That does not even cross their mind one time. They are very secure. They have a lot of peace in their heart. So that sense of peace is also an indication that this could be a God-given blessing, okay? The absence of peace means the opposite. I'll talk about the man-made blessings after this. Now, first we're talking about the God-given blessings. So the presence of peace, the Prince of Peace is there. So that peace means no anxiety. And the absence of anxiety means that there is a lot of security. The people involved just feel secure. If it's a job, they just feel secure. This is their job. They're not worried that someone else is eyeing, their job, and they want to take it from them, because that sense of lack of peace and then that high anxiety is what makes people hold on too tight, a little bit too tight, to some of those blessings, right? So that's a sign. When you see somebody is not secure, they're very insecure, and they're doing things to sort of hold to that blessing so tight, that's a sign for you that there is no peace in their heart about it, and they feel as though they could lose it at any given moment, and that's a sign that it might not have been God that gave it to them. When God gives the blessing, it comes with this package. It comes with peace. And then number 4 is that there is an unwritten understanding of who it belongs to. An unwritten understanding of who this blessing belongs to, right? Regardless of who has the papers to say they are the owner. Everyone, without even knowing who is actually the owner of this blessing, will just know automatically. They will say, oh, this belongs to so and so. If it's a job, they read the position and whatever, and automatically just say, oh, that is this person's position, naturally. without even knowing anything about the details. If it is a partner, they just see these two people together, say, that's your husband, without even knowing whether you're together with that person or not. And sometimes you see that happening, especially with the older people. They like to see people and say, oh, that's your husband, or that's your wife. Where's your wife? And you find yourself explaining, no, we are not together. I don't know this person. We are not together. It's like, okay. So when things like that happen, is also a sign that this may actually be a God-given blessing for this person. It happens also with different positions, different types of blessings, right? That can happen. You find people just automatically thinking that this thing belongs to this person, or this blessing, this position, this role, this opportunity belongs to this person. Like there's no question about it, right? Even before it happens. So that's a big sign that this is a God-given blessing to a particular person. Even maybe they don't even realize it at the time. And then number 5, nature cooperates to keep it in the hands of the owner. Okay, so all of nature will cooperate or conspire to keep it in the hands of the owner. So sometimes this may happen in terms of just things happening that nobody could control. And then you find that it worked out in the favor of that person who was to have it, to actually take possession of it. So maybe it's an opportunity to own a particular business or whatever, and then it belonged to this person, but somehow they were not in possession of it. Nature conspires so that it now comes to the ownership of this person whom God had blessed this person with it from the beginning. That may happen in terms of the current owners, maybe having to move away, having an emergency and they have to leave, and so they leave it in the hands of whoever was supposed to be the right owner. It could be in the form of a position. Someone was supposed to be promoted, but another person cut in and took the position. Nature will conspire such that, you know, there's just changes in that business that nobody could even predict or control. And it then so happens that the program or the business model is changed in such a way that it ends up that this person ends up getting that role that they were supposed to get as part of their blessings that God has blessed them with. It could also be things such as wealth, inheritance, that was supposed to belong to this person from the beginning, but somehow, you know, there was some manipulation and they lost possession of it. Nature will conspire such that the person who took possession of it can no longer keep it, or it falls from their hand, or they lose it somehow, because nature is conspiring. Other times we see this even with things like weddings, where nature will conspire such that the wedding will not take place if it didn't belong, if, you know, these two people don't belong together. You see things like that. Something just happens right before the wedding ceremony. It's supposed to be an outdoor service, whatever, and then at the beach, and then there's a hurricane. Things like that that nobody could have predicted or nobody could have controlled. So in this case, nature conspires for everything to work even better for the person who God has blessed with this blessing. Okay, it's the opposite. And then number 6, it brings joy to the people involved and glory to God. So when it is a God-given blessing, there is so much joy for the people involved. That joy comes from deep within their hearts. They know that, okay, this is a blessing from God. So they are full of joy in their hearts, right? Because the blessings of the Lord make one rich and add no sorrow to it. So there is no sorrow attached to that blessing, such that, oh, you have to do this to keep it, you have to do that, you have to do this ritual, you have to do that. No, you only have to give thanks to God, right? And so all the glory goes to God. That's the meaning of that. It brings joy and not sorrow, and then the glory goes to God. Number 7, it serves God's purpose, because God gives these blessings to serve his purpose, so that at the end of the day, he receives that glory, and there's a bigger purpose. And so that bigger purpose of God is realized through this person receiving these blessings. It's not just blessings for blessing's sake to make the person happy and that's it. No. So for example, a person is blessed with a particular position where they're getting a lot more income so that they can take their family out off of poverty. So God's purpose is to take this family out of a poverty situation, to break that generational curse attached with the spirit of poverty in this family. So you see that blessing of that good job with a good income for that person is attached to God's purpose, which is to take this family out of that generational curse of poverty that has been attached to them, right? So this person's blessing is serving him individually, but it is also achieving God's purpose for the family and the people around. So God-given blessings will have God's purpose attached to it, okay? That's also a big sign that this blessing is actually from God, and there's a reason why this person is receiving these blessings from God. And then the last one, number 8, it defies man-made laws, policies, and protocols. So when God blesses somebody with a particular blessing, at times there is laws of the land which say such a person cannot be receiving this and this blessing, right? But because it is God-given and God is the final higher authority in this matter, this person will receive this blessing despite or in spite of these man-made laws saying no, such a person should not be receiving this type of a blessing. An example is a particular position of authority and influence, and then there's some laws saying that somebody who looks, you know, like this, or a woman or whatever they came up with, or cannot be holding such a position. But because God has blessed them with that blessing, you find that at the end, this person will take that position because God has ordained them to take it, in spite of those laws or policies. Another one could be a union. In an organization, there's a union which is saying people who are getting promotion should have a seniority, like the most senior person, the person who's been in the company the longest, is the one to get that position. But you find that God has brought this person to this company for a particular reason, to take that position because it serves his purpose in one way or the other. And you find that in spite of that protocol or that law or that policy, this person who's just new with the least seniority ends up being the one getting the position. Maybe everyone goes for an interview. All the people with seniority fail the interview. They didn't pass the assessment, the interview questions, whatever. And so by default, then this new person is the one that passed all these questions. They got high marks. So they end up getting that position anyway, in spite of the laws which were there to block them from getting that position. So you can see that God is in that story. Okay, so these are the 8 signs that tell you that this blessing is from God. Now let us look at the 8 signs which tell you that this blessing is not from God. It's a man-made blessing. Okay, the first one, a person did a lot of the work to sort of make this blessing come to pass. So it is achieved through the human effort. Somebody did so much work, day and night. They put in a lot of sweat to finally get that result. So they cannot say that God did it for me, because they know that they did it for themselves. At times, this is where we see the people going to witchcraft, people going to the occult, people going to use evil altars to get these blessings. It is the human effort, right? They are going there, they have to participate in all these rituals, they have to pay, they have to do a lot of things just to get that result, to get that blessings, whether it's influence, power, wealth, marriage, whatever it is. It is them who did that effort, and then with the help of an evil altar to make it come to pass. The moment they stop doing those things, that blessing is gone. They cannot hold it again. Which brings me to number 2, which means there is no grace attached to it. One little mistake and it is gone. There is really no grace attached for it at all. So that tells you that this blessing obviously did not come from God. Another thing, even without the involvement of witchcraft or sorcery or the occult or things like that, or an evil altar, if it is just purely human effort, somebody works so hard to get it, there is also no grace attached to it, in terms of the person is so irritated with the little things that happen in that blessing. Maybe if it is a marriage, yes, they are married to this person, they achieve the result, but there is no grace in that relationship or in that marriage. They are constantly irritated by their partner, whom they work so hard to come and marry, but in that marriage, they are so irritated and frustrated by the things that this partner is doing. They are irritated by the little smallest things, just set them off, right? Because there is no grace. There is no grace in that blessing. If it's a job, they are so tired. They're complaining about all the projects they have to do, all the work they have to do, but they worked so hard to get to that position. But once they are in possession of it, once they are in it, they are not enjoying it. There is no grace at all. And then, so that means it's very high maintenance and it's stressful. And then it also means that they have had to do so much just to keep it. They worked so hard to get it. And then now they have to work even harder to keep it, right? You think that once they got it, they can relax. It's even the opposite. They are even having to put in all-nighters just to keep it, right? And so all their effort is now to keep it. So there is no grace at all. That's a biggest sign. Number 3, there is no peace in the heart of the person possessing it. Even though they got it, even though they got the ring, even though they got the marriage certificate, there is no peace. As soon as that partner is stepping out like this, they are watching that partner to see, oh, this person may be cheating on me. Why are they talking to that person? Who's that person? What do they want? If it's a job, they are there's no peace at all. They are working so hard to keep that job and they don't feel at peace at all. So it means that they are very, very insecure. There is a lot of insecurity and you don't understand where it's coming from. No one is even interested in that role or that position or taking it away from them, but the fear is just with them. They are always fearful that they will lose it at any moment. Okay, that's a big sign that this blessing didn't come from God for them. Now, number 4, there is written things, certificates and documents and policies to prove their ownership, that they are the possessor of it, they are the owner. So if it is God-given, there's hardly anything to prove that this is the owner. It is written in the heart. But in this one, if it is man-made, it is written on paper. That's the difference. Remember the law of Moses and the law that Jesus came to bring. The law in the time of Moses was written on tablets, written a physical thing. With Jesus, the law in the New Testament, the law is written in the heart. So this is the same, right? The owner of the person of this blessing is written in the heart, in the people's hearts. So an example, like I said, is maybe in marriage. When people see these two people together, they can just say, that's their husband. But then you come and say, no, they are not together. They're not in a relationship. But people can see it. Why? Because it is written in their hearts. It is not written on paper. There is no marriage certificate, or there is no ring to prove anything. There is no marriage certificate to say you're Mrs. So-and-so, but it is written in their heart. That is what we mean. When God joins two together, he doesn't join in paper, as in here is a marriage certificate. He joins people's hearts. So it is written in the people's hearts. That's what it means. So when you see something like that, then you know, okay, God put this together. It's a blessing from God, not man-made. Okay. And then number 5, nature cooperates to destroy it from the hands of the possessor if it is man-made. You see acts of nature where now that person who was having this blessing, but they gave it to themselves, or they use witchcraft, or they use whatever means. It is not God-given. Nature works to take it from them. Okay, that's a big sign that it was not from God for them. Nature did not cooperate with them in this matter. And then number 6, it brings pride to the people involved and glory to man. So remember, when we said if it is a God-given blessing, it brings joy to the people involved and glory to who? God. But if it is a man-made blessing, the glory goes to man. It brings pride, a spirit of pride to the people involved as well. They can say, I worked so hard. Look at how much money I've made. It is from my effort. I put in a lot of sweat. I did this. I'm so smart. I'm intelligent. I was able to get this and that. So you see, that is pride. They are proud of what they did and the result they achieved. And then the glory goes to man, not God. I healed that man. I prayed for him and he walked. I healed that person. I prayed for this person and raised him from the dead. It is me who did it. You know how many hours of prayer I put in? How many days I fast? Do you know how many courses I've taken in order to get to that, to director position? You know what I've done, like my experience, my qualifications. This is all about the person involved, not God. And so the glory is going to the person, not God. Big difference, okay? Big difference. Then number 7, it serves man's purpose. When we talked about God-given blessing, we say it serves God's purpose. Here, when it is a man-made blessing, it serves man's purpose. What this person aimed to achieve with getting that money. What this person wanted to achieve by getting that position. What this person wanted to achieve by marrying that man or getting married to that woman. It's about the person's selfish desire. It is not about God's purpose. It's about the person's purpose. Serving the person's purpose. That's it. And then number 8, the last one, it is in alignment with man-made laws, policies, and protocols. So this just means that laws and policies are made to sort of keep it in the hands of those people whom God never gave them this blessing. It's man-made. So the laws and policies will be supporting that, right? So for instance, it's a law that says certain people from a particular area cannot own this type of asset. And so the laws are made to support that, so that, you know, if God even blesses somebody from that area with this blessing to own this asset, they will come and take it from them to say, the law says you cannot. The law says you cannot hold this position. The law says you cannot marry somebody who looks like this. The law says you cannot do this and that. And so the law here is to man-made laws. Remember, these are man-made laws. So the law here is for the benefit of those that did not obtain this blessing from God. That is who the law is serving, right? So if you see that laws are being amended in order to suit man-made blessings, then you know this is truly a man-made blessing, right? Because this law is here to protect that person so that they keep that blessing, because it was not from God. If not for this law, they would lose that blessing immediately. So here we also see it with legalism. And a lot of church people like to use this as well to justify people who God never blessed with certain blessings to continue to keep those blessings, right? An example is in the area of marriage, where there is laws being made such that, you know, God hates divorce or things like that. But in reality, it is to keep people who God never joined together from separating. Because if you ask those people involved who are quoting this law to say, okay, did God really join you together? You will see that it was human effort. It's man-made effort. It's a man-made blessings. But now they use a law to support them to keep it together so that they don't lose it. That's what it means here, right? If it is God ordained, God given, the laws, man-made laws, would be saying, no, you can't be together. And now it's up to God, the power of God, to overturn that, to overcome that, so that the glory then goes to God. So these are the 8 signs through which you can tell that this blessing is a God-ordained blessing, and it is part of this person's destiny. Okay? So thank you so much. I look forward to sharing another spiritual insight word with you as the Holy Spirit impresses upon me. Have a blessed, and a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.